Alright guys, today I am going to be doing Cha-Ching number 175. I know, I feel like it's been a while since I've even done a video. My last video was also a Cha-Ching, but you know, Christmas is right around the corner, literally, and if you haven't been listing, now is the time to really start buckling down and getting your stuff listed because people are starting to spend and are starting to shop. I know, surprising considering the state of what is going on currently, but that does not stop everyone. Sales have been really good, and that honestly is surprising, just consider all things considered. So we are going to get into this Cha-Ching. It is number 175. So let's just get started. The first thing that we have is going to be a Czechoslovakia face bell. This was so weird. I won this at an auction. It also came with a matching face mug. I kept the mug. I really just have no use for bells, so I listed the bell. The bell sold $29.99, and I put the mug in with my Halloween decorations because it just had that like moon type face to me. Anyway, next thing I sold was a Y2K styled ice cream cone shaped lamp. This was kind of made like that melted popcorn type of plastic, like melted together plastic is how I would describe that. I picked that up at a yard sale. I paid $5 for it, and it sold for $44.99. Let's see. I also sold a Salem, Massachusetts tote bag. This had a witch riding on a broom. I actually got this free at a yard sale. I bought like a couple books at a yard sale at one point, and the lady put them all into this tote bag. So that was really nice. I really liked the tote. I actually kept it for a little while, but then I ended up listing it. And that sold for $19.99. Then sold this is by Pier 1, and it is that like dried fragranced potpourri. This one was in the scent Apple Crisp, and that sold $19.99. I actually had 2 of these, so I still have 1 available, and then 1 sold. We also sold a Snap-on wobble extension tool set. So this was a set of Snap-on tools, and these sold for $149.99. Also sold a vintage Glow Friends little, they called these Glow Friends glow worms. They were like little finger puppets. This one was called Nutty Bug, and this one was actually a little bit harder to find, and that sold for $36. We sold a Mosser mini blue glass hen on a nest for $36. A Department 56, this was called a Christmas Sweets cookie jar. This was so cute. That sold for $99.99. Then there's going to be a couple more tools here. This one was for a set of 3 Matco gripper pliers. Those ones sold $79.99, and then this was another set of 3, and these were needle nose pliers, but also by the Matco brand, and those sold $69.99. Then we also sold a signed wood duck decoy. This one sold $49.99. I sold that vintage Winnie the Pooh girls children's dress. I picked this up at a church sale. I think I paid 25 cents or 50 cents for it, and it sold for $18.50. Sold a Coach purse. This was in the style called Parker, and that sold $49.99. Next item was a vintage Cabbage Patch Kids doll. This one was called a growing hair doll. That sold $69.99. Then we sold these. These were Fitz and Floyd Old World rabbits, but they were actually made into curtain tiebacks. So these were originally like salt and pepper shakers that someone turned into curtain tiebacks. they actually have like an Etsy shop where they sell like repurposed things that they make into curtain tiebacks, and they are very expensive. These actually showed up at an auction one day, and I was like trying like heck to find them because, you know, they don't necessarily exist, because they were repurposed by someone and then sold in their Etsy shop. But anyway, they still sold for decent money. The Fitz and Floyd Old World Rabbit stuff typically does sell for good money. These sold for $89.99, and I think in their Etsy shop they charge like, I feel like it was like $200 these were originally. We sold two Harley Davidson shirts. These are vintage. The first one is a supercharged shirt that sold for $39.99, and then the other one said something like the eagle has landed. That one also sold $39.99. We picked these up at a yard sale, like 25 cents or 50 cents a piece. Unfortunately, the owner, this is like such a biker thing, but they like tore the sleeves off of them. They probably would have went for more had those sleeves been intact, but even still, that's a great sell price considering we only paid, like I said, it was a quarter, 50 cents for those a piece. Let's see, I sold a Fenton Cabbage Rose Fairy Lamp. This sold $52.99. Also sold a shower gel. This is a Lush shower gel in turmeric latte. That sold $49.99. That just came out of one of my Lush subscription boxes. I already had that one and it wasn't like my absolute favorite fragrance, so I sold mine. Then we sold, this one was a good one. This one's by Franklin Mint. It was a rhinoceros sculpture called Thunder on the Plains. That sold $225, so that was a great sale. Sold a Beauty and the Beast Polly Pocket style playset. This was brand new, still sealed, sold $119.99. Also sold another vintage playset. This one was from 1993 called the Fairy Winkles. That one sold $27.99. We sold a Yankee candle in the scent Christmas Berries. That sold $49.99. This next item was just one of those things where it kind of surprised me. You guys know a lot of the times when we win stuff at auctions, at times they're like box lot stuff. So I always go through everything else that was in said box lot aside from, you know, the one or two items I actually wanted, and I'll look the stuff up. A lot of the times, my box lot stuff I sell on Whatnot. But like I said, this keychain was in this box of stuff we won. It was like an old Volkswagen keychain. And I guess there are people out there who collect Volkswagen stuff. Like there are super fans out there. I was really surprised by this. I put it on auction. It sold for $14.38 for just a little keychain. I don't know. That really surprised me. Then we also sold, this was from 2003, so not vintage, but still back there. I hate saying that because 2003 doesn't seem like it was that long ago, but holy crap, it kind of was. Anyway, this was a Rainbow Bright and Starlight set. This was still sealed. That sold $79.99. We sold a tall vintage metal trash can. This was for the UNLV college. That sold $99. Then we also sold a art glass vase. This one was signed by Jan Kravisky, was the artist on that one. That sold $69.99. Sold an art glass marble by Stephen Maslach. That sold $49.99. Sold a Murano glass necklace for $19.99. This one was actually a local pickup. I will do local pickups on eBay. I don't have it down as offering as local pickups, but anyone who's been wanting to local pickup from me, you can clearly see where the seller is. And then they just message and ask if they can do a local pickup instead, and then I will go in, turn that on so they can buy it and, you know, just do the local pickup option. So far, that has gone well. I've done it numerous times without any problems, knock on wood. So yeah, it's definitely something that even if you don't have turned on, like if you have someone who messages you who is close by and wants to do local pickup, just meet somewhere, obviously, that is, you know, not like a weird place, like meet in a very public place. We typically do like convenience stores or like grocery stores, that type of thing, as far as like a meet up place. Then we also sold, this was an encyclopedia set. It was called the Illustrated World War II Encyclopedia Set. It was complete. That sold $49.99. This is another Polly Pocket Disney. This one was Pocahontas, again still sealed. That sold $129.99. Next item was this large cigar ashtray for Perdomo cigars. That sold $19.99. Sold a Falstaff grocery bag. This was a wooden like grocery bag dispenser. This was in the tea rose design. I typically have good luck selling anything tea rose. As far as Falstaff goes, that sold $49.99. Sold a Home Alone Tiger Electronics handheld game. This sold $89.99. I got this at a yard sale. I think I paid $5 for it. Then we also sold, I was surprised by this, and not because of what it sold for, but like, I know most people are familiar with the Lennox Spice Village house, like spice set, the little houses that, you know, you put your spices in. I have never come across those before. One set did come up at the auction. I did not win it. But I haven't actually come across any like in the wild, not even like single ones at like a thrift store or something, you know what I mean? But this came up at the auction, and they made other things than just the spice jars. This is the Lennox Spice Village water pitcher. I had no idea there was a water pitcher. Anyway, it sold $124.99. So definitely, it's not just the spice jars, it's other things as well. Then I also sold a Bath & Body Works Sandalwood Rose lotion. That sold $69.99. I think I did have to pay $7 for that at an auction, but still sold very well. We sold a Nylant Coca-Cola. This was actually 2 Nylant Coca-Cola trucks. These good sale. These did take a while to sell though, but they sold $359.99. Then we sold a pottery mug. This one was by Susan and David Butterfield. That sold $36.99. All right, so this next item, I had no idea the value of these things until I looked them up. Granted, okay, I know a lot of like vintage toys because, you know, I grew up with those. But, you know, as I get older, I'm not really in the know of, you know, what's hot now as far as toys go, or what, you know, is starting to become hot that was from, you know, a couple so years ago. Baby Alive. These were called Crib Life dolls. So they're smaller than Baby Alive. Baby Alive dolls, you know, they're like an average size baby doll size. The Crib Life dolls, I'd say, are about yay big, maybe like 6 inches, 5.5 inches. Some of those can sell really, really well. There was like a tote full of toys at the auction one day, and there were Bratz and Monster High, and obviously I know about those, but I just happened to look up because I saw this one in there, and I just was like, you know what? I like researching, like that's one of my favorite things to do when it comes to reselling. So, you know, the educationally researchery part of me wanted to find out like what the heck. how much is this actually worth kind of thing. I wasn't thinking it was gonna be worth anything. And here it was the most expensive thing in that dang tote. All right, that Baby Alive doll sold for $155. I had no idea. Now, I know about Baby Alive dolls. I had one when I was little, like the old school ones. But I think they are still popular, but obviously, like, not all of them are going to be created equal. Look for the Crib Life ones. They're smaller than, like, the regular ones. That's all I really know. Then we also have a Bath & Body Works. This was a men's cologne in the scent White Citrus. That sold $99.99, and I picked that up at Goodwill. I actually was doing a live YouTube video at Goodwill the day I picked this up, and I think I paid $9.99 for it, so that was a good sale. Thank you, Goodwill. Sometimes Goodwill is a hit, but 99.9% of the time when we stop in, it is a miss. We were just checked in there the other day before we went to the booth to restock. I feel like everything was $10, which is just, I think, is crazy for some things. I didn't mind spending it on that, obviously. And then, like, even the stuff that they have $10 on is just not in good condition, or just, like, not worth $10 to even begin with. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. It's very hit or miss for me. Let's see. We also sold, this was a perpetual balancing Santa Claus pendulum that sold $144.99. We've actually sold this before, not the first time we've sold one. So anytime we do see one, we tend to pick them up if we can get them, at an auction for a decent price. Then we sold a set of 4 George Briard. These were green old-fashioned glasses with a stripe. Those sold $42.99. I still have one set of 4 left. Then we sold another set of books. This was the Bible story, so this was the complete set of books. Those sold $59. Then we sold that Viking charcoal blue owl glass fairy lamp for $420. We actually picked this up at an antique store. There was still good money to be made in that. So sometimes, like, here even lately, I have been buying a lot of stuff at antique stores to resell. Sometimes there's still a lot of money to be made in the things that you find in antique stores. I think some people just assume all antique stores are just, expensive or, priced higher kind of thing, and that's not always necessarily the case. Let's see. We also sold an Art Nouveau Epernay lamp. This thing was beautiful. That sold $199.99. It's things like that, like, if I had the place for it in my house, it would have been so hard to actually get rid of that. Then I sold a set of 2 primitive style Raggedy Ann and Andy dolls. Those sold $29.99. Then let's see, we sold an oil painting. This was a folk art oil painting by Arlene Fisher, and that sold $89.99. Also sold a set of anthropomorphic gourd people salt and pepper shakers. I actually have a set of these of my own that I put out at Halloween. Those sold $19.99, which gonna have to start packing Halloween away and bringing out my Christmas stuff here soon. Also sold a black cat. This was redware pottery. It was a black cat. It looked like it was climbing the wall. You hung it on the wall. It looked like it was climbing. That sold $59.99. Eric is texting me. Yes, I have Eric's notification as a cat meowing. Ooh, it's not a lot of people at the auction tonight. He says there's only 12 people there. That's not good. I think I'm having him bid on one thing. There's really just like nothing there. But he works there. He doesn't have to. He just does it because, they need help, and Eric is like the sweetest guy ever. So he's just been working for them for like almost, I think it's been over a year now. So it just all works out. He gets a little money, and we just kind of like squirrel that money away. But a lot of the times, and tonight included, they have a whole lot of coins, a whole lot of, you know, silver and things like that. And lately Eric will just like buy like a silver coin here or there, and again, we just kind of squirrel it away. Just, you know, it's good to invest in that kind of stuff. Very good to invest. If we had the kind of money where we could invest in like gold bar, like little gold bars or something, like I would totally do that. But, you know, it's just sticking with like the silver for now. And then last thing I have is this really amazing, this was like so cool. This was a vintage plastic Santa Claus riding in like a rocket ship shaped car. This sold for $137.50. I actually purchased this at one of the Gettysburg outdoor antique flea markets the one day I was there. We actually didn't get to go. I don't think the last 2 times we didn't go. I did pay $40 for that. I took the chance on that one because I couldn't find it anywhere, and I thought it was such a cool piece. And, you know, sometimes when I take a chance on things, knock on wood, sometimes it pays off, and it pays off really well if, you know, I get the little tingly senses, like I think this is something good, you know what I mean? It doesn't always work out. Sometimes I feel like it's gonna be something good, and then it ends up not being all that fantastic. But you know, sometimes it works out. So sometimes it's okay to gamble a little bit. $40 wasn't all that bad, and I figured if it really wasn't worth much, I just keep it for myself because it was a cool piece. You know what I'm saying? So that is pretty much everything for this cha-ching. eBay sales are up for me currently 16.1%. So yeah, I think eBay sales have been going really well. We recently got a shit ton, I don't like to curse, but a crap ton of hens on a nest at an auction. Now, Eric had to pay up for them. They didn't all come cheap, but we've listed quite a number of them. Quite a number of them have sold, and you'll see those soon in cha-chings that will be coming up. So I don't even remember how much exactly he spent. I know it was over 1,000. It was 1,000 something. But averaging out every hen, we paid like $22 a hen, and I've been selling hens for way more than $22. So we're gonna be doing good. And once, you know, we get to the point where like I can kind of maybe tell you like what exact profit we made off these hens. Hundreds of hens. I don't even remember exactly how many. I thought I figured it out and I screenshotted it on my phone. Let me see if I can find that real quick. It was, okay. Oh, it was more than $1,000. It was more than $1,000. It was $5,000 and $5,265 he paid on hens. We got 232 hens on a nest. Guys, hens on a nest are going crazy right now. So if you have any, now is the time to be listing them before this dies off. That's what I've been telling Eric, like, we need to get all these hens listed as quickly as possible before like something like poop hits the fan and, you know, the hen craze is died down again, because it had died down there for a while, I believe. And it's back full force. So 232 hens. So if you average that out, we paid $22 and like 69 cents a piece for, you know, each hen. And like I said, some of these hens are just going absolutely bunkeroony. Like I have sold hens, like one of the last hens I sold for $535. You know, another one for $525, 169, 154. Like it's way above that $22 average, and we still have a crap ton of hens to list. I'm talking all different sizes, all different brands, all different, like crazy colors. Colors that, like, when I go to look up, haven't been listed in literal years. So definitely like rarer ones and things like that. So it's been fun listing hens. I'm getting kind of henned out already, but like I said, I need to stay on it. And I was telling Eric, it's good that we have something like that is going to, you know, we will make our money back and we will profit off of these hens, no doubt. But it's nice to have that type of item going into the Christmas season where, you know, it's going to generate good money, because obviously people are going to be shopping for other people and Christmas gifts and that type of thing. So people might be willing to even spend more since it's getting closer to Christmas. So I'm glad we have something like that. I feel like we haven't had a really great, awesome, large score of things from an auction since like the folk art auction that we had won a bunch of really good high-end type stuff at. So yeah, because like auctions are hit or miss a lot of times. Like when you go to auction, there's only like a couple of things that are really worth you know, good money, good resale value to them, and things like that. So yeah, I'm thankful that we did get those hens. Other people were not happy with Eric that day because he was taking every hen in the house, but you know, that's the name of the reselling game. Towards the end, there were a couple of trades. He's like, I think we're good. I think I'm just gonna let the other ones go, because towards the end, people were paying even more for them because I think everyone just, you know, wanted to get some, basically. So you know, he didn't take all of them, but dang near all of them. So, you know, like I said, it's just good to have a good score like that. You know, because it's I guess easy money in a way. Like I think so far only a couple of them haven't sold that we have listed. A lot of them I've been putting on bids. They've been running as auctions, just because, like I said, there aren't any other ones listed. So yeah, so far so good. So far so good. I feel like that's all as far as eBay goes. I'm trying to think. I am still doing Whatnot. I know I have been mentioning that a lot after like my eBay cha-ching videos. You know, I started on Whatnot, and Whatnot, I've said before, is very hard to get started with. Like even if you do have a social media following, like I have quite a few subscribers. I'm not like crazy subscriber count numbers, but even if you have a social media following, it still isn't easy because not everyone is gonna follow you everywhere, kind of thing. So when I first started out on Whatnot, like I really struggled, and you know, I gave up after a while. I was like, I don't think this is gonna work for me, you know what I mean? So I kind of just gave up on it, and I shouldn't have, but I do that sometimes, like when I feel like things just aren't working out, and then I'm like, I don't think I'm cut out for this, so then I just, you know, give up. And I shouldn't have done that, so I went back, and now I'm trying to be more consistent with it and, you know, keep going regardless. And it is starting to get a, you know, better. Each time is a little better. I think not like followers matter necessarily, because not everyone who follows you it's the same way on YouTube. Like not everyone who's subscribed actually like watches every video or anything. So it's the same on Whatnot. Just because you have so many followers doesn't mean they're all going to be in your shows and that kind of thing. So I think I'm at like 3,000 something followers on there. So I am starting to get slightly more people in my show. Not all the time. I don't always sell stuff. Like You know, I'm not the type of person that can just pop on and just consistently sell things. I did a live in the booth pop up the other day and didn't sell a dang thing. So, you know, you never know how it's gonna go. But my last show I did my first $1,000 whatnot show. I was just so ecstatic after that. Like, I couldn't believe it. I didn't think I'd ever be one of those type of sellers that could make that much money in a couple of hours. So that was just really like crazy feeling. So I was super thankful for that. So yeah, I didn't do, and then this past week I didn't do any whatnot shows. So again, that's not helping me because I'm not, you know, you need to be consistent kind of thing. And I didn't do any because I had things that I was doing that weekend, so I just didn't do any whatnot shows. So I'm going all ham again. I've been trying to do Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, so 3 shows like every weekend. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Just trying to be consistent. But like I said, there's no rhyme or reason to it. That just because I had a good show last time doesn't mean I'm gonna sell anything in my next show. You know what I mean? Like, you just never know how it's gonna go. And I'm the type of seller, even with like my eBay, you see, I will literally sell anything. It doesn't matter what it is. Like, if there's money to be made in it, I'm gonna sell it, kind of thing. So I like to know a little bit about everything. And sometimes I feel like that kind of hurts as a seller on there because you kind of get known for like what you sell. Like, there's some people that just sell glass. There's some people that just sell books. There's some people that just sell storage unit stuff. And it's like my shows, like this week I have a vintage Smurfs PVC show on Friday, a vintage My Little Pony show on Saturday, and then Sunday is like a Christmas ornament and card show. So it's like from one spectrum to the next kind of thing. So I feel like that sometimes does like not work for like well for me, like in my favor, but you know, there's nothing I can really do about it because that's just the kind of seller I am. Sometimes I just don't know what kind of stuff I'm gonna have to sell, basically. But yeah, it's just something that I've been trying to keep up with. So if you are a whatnot seller, 1, let me know your username so that I can follow you, and 2, mine is happened upon, and the link is always down underneath my video in the description box, is what I'm trying to say. Anyway, let me know your whatnot name so I can follow you. But also, if you feel like, anyway, like how I had felt prior as far as like wanting to give up on it, don't give up. Like, don't let other things get into your head and, you know, make it like so you give up. What I'm trying to say is just don't give up. Just keep trying. That's all we can do, okay? Like, literally, that's all we can do. And I think a lot of times too with, and not just whatnot, but like other platforms as well. I mean, it can be the same with eBay. I feel like sometimes people, you know, have trouble. You know, you see other people having success and then you kind of start getting in your head like, well, what am I doing wrong? Like, what's wrong with me? Why aren't I successful? You know what I mean? And it's just, it all comes down to just being consistent. And I am not one to talk, considering I am not consistent with my YouTube videos. So that's probably one reason my YouTube channel just kind of like is just staying afloat kind of thing. Thankfully, I don't need to rely on my YouTube for, you know, getting me by. So if like YouTube went away, I'd be perfectly fine. I mean, I get paid okay on YouTube, but it's nothing to like write home about. So I'd be fine without it. But I enjoy making YouTube videos when I have the time. Here lately, like I said, I've really been buckling down with getting stuff listed. So I have been like listing like crazy, and you know, I've been like working on like my whatnot shows and stuff like that. So it's just been a grind of reselling basically, and not really having a whole lot of time for, you know, filming and editing. Hence why I'm rambling so much. You guys know I go kind of crazy rambling when I do these videos. But I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to talk about. I think so. It's probably getting time for me to go feed the dog. It is. So she's gonna be like coming in here any second, like, I'm getting hungry, Mom. So I'm gonna get off here, go feed her, then I'm gonna edit this video. I might be putting it up actually today. We'll see. So hopefully you enjoyed. Let me know what you thought down in the comments, how sales are going for you. And like I said, if you are a seller on Whatnot, or if you're just on Whatnot, let me know your username so that I can follow you. Like I said, mine is happened upon, all one word. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.